What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and in this video I'd like to share with you some information that I wish someone shared with me in my last bull market, right? Last bull cycle, that was my second cycle. This is my third cycle now. It was my first successful cycle. It was the first time that I actually made money in crypto, and I could have made a lot more if I had somebody tell me what I want to share with you in this video. Now, this might not pertain to all of you. This might not be something that helps all of you, but I'm thinking it'll help a lot of you. And if it doesn't help you out this cycle, remember these words, because at some point it will be relevant. Okay, it's a very common thought, especially whenever we talk about long-term investments. Okay, long-term versus short-term. If that sounds good to you, hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. We're going to get to the main point of this, but I understand how I like to say that. I understand how I like to kind of go over things. To drive a point home, I like to build a base first. We're going to paint the picture, and then we'll go over the aspects of it afterwards. Okay. My first bull market was absolutely terrible for me, right? And so was the bear. Well, the first bull market was great, but the bear market's really what screwed me up, right? I didn't take any profits. I rode that all the way down, and I lost a lot of money. I traded and did everything wrong, literally the first cycle. Second cycle is where I became profitable, but I would have been so much more profitable if I had someone tell me what I'm about to tell you guys, okay? This video is in inspiration of a comment that was left to me on my most recent Bitcoin long-term analysis video. Shout out to Daniel Hughes. I hope I'm not putting you on blast, but I am going to read your comment, my friend. My last Bitcoin video that I made was a long-term analysis talking about the cycle top indicators and how they're all suggesting that we have months, like over a quarter of a year, over even half a year left of bull market to go, okay? So just understand that's the context of this comment that he said. I'm going to share it with you now. He says, just throwing this out there, C-Zar, if the potential for this bull market to end in June of 2026, if the potential is for this bull market to end in June of 2026, and I bought in April through June of 2025, June of 2026 would mean that you have long-term capital gains versus short-term capital gains, is what I think you're trying to say there, right? Would it be better for me to just hold until the roughly June 2026 end? I know a lot can change and things can adjust. I'm just torn on what to do, and I don't like the idea of the government taking an automatic percentage of your gains. And I hear that, right? And this was something that I had in my mind last cycle as well, right? With some cryptos that I was holding. I didn't want to sell. I had a gut feeling. I had clear indications on the charts, social indications as well, right? People are hitting me up all left and right. People who told me crypto is a scam, they're calling me that I haven't heard from in years, just telling me, hey man, can you help me get involved in crypto? Like, those are clear social signs. And then beyond that, we had technical indicators too, flying off the charts saying that the cycle top was in, or at least very near, right? We had a lot of euphoria in the markets. And I ignored all of that because I wanted to avoid, I thought in my head, probably the same thing that you're thinking here when you wrote this, Daniel, and maybe some thoughts that you guys also have if you're in the same kind of boat here. I thought in my head, even if I miss the top, that's okay, because as long as I wait until the long-term capital gains are there, I was about a month away from my long-term capital gains hitting. As long as I get that, that'll offset the difference of any potential losses from the top that I have. And I want you to understand, for Bitcoin, that might be true, because Bitcoin moves down slowly, right? And it'll move down fast. It definitely will in a bear market, but it moves down slowly. For altcoins, it's not true. In my experience, and from the last cycle that I had, I would have been so much better off. And I did take long-term capital gains, but the amount of money that I had after taxes on those long-term capital gains versus the money I would have had if I sold when I thought was a good time to sell, and I just took the short-term capital gains and I paid the taxes, I would have had so much more. Like, the difference is like an overall, it was, I can't even remember what the amount was. I'm trying to think in my head here. It was like over 100%. I don't know if it was multiple hundreds of percents, but it was a lot. It was a huge difference, right? And that's the purpose of this video, right? So really discuss that timing the end of the cycle is one thing, but thinking that it will wait for you, or thinking that you can wait for it in like the most appropriate way for your long-term capital gains to be achieved, it's not a good way to go about things, and you're probably going to set yourself up for failure. If you have long-term capital gains now, if you've been investing in the markets for earlier than 2024, right, and earlier than April of 2024, you're probably going to be safe with long-term capital gains. It might not be anything you have to worry about. But again, be prepared. I don't care if you're one day away from long-term capital gains. If you get that feeling in your gut, you get that instinct, there's indicators going off left and right that this is the cycle top, and you feel like it's time to get out, make the best decision for yourself. And that decision, whether it feels right or wrong, because it might feel more appropriate to wait for long-term gains, I'm telling you, screw that, right? And I have a friend who's also very successful in the crypto space. We talked about this plenty of times actually, where it's like the idea to wait for long-term capital gains is so appealing because the difference is pretty significant. But man, screw that. It's just a distraction. The market doesn't care about your long-term aspects whenever you got in versus your short-term aspects. It doesn't matter, right? It's going to top when it wants to top. And I promise you, when it tops, it's going to be significant. It's going to be more significant than the taxes that you would pay based on your gains, right? It's more worth it to take the short-term gains and at least cash out and have that money than it is to wait for those long-term gains and likely have less cash than you would have if you just took the top. I'm with you, man. I don't like the idea of paying the government more percentages and all that stuff. I get you. I hear that, but it just is what it is, unfortunately. And the best part is here is that if you're selling in 2026 at all, you won't have to pay taxes until 2027. So that's a whole year, right? If you do things right, you set your funds aside, maybe you stake it in some stable coins or something, or some kind of stable whatever in crypto that pays an APR, APY. You're in some kind of thing that pays you monthly percentages. You can use that as well, although that would probably add to your taxes as well. But you could still use that. You pay a percentage of that in your taxes, so still using that to help pay taxes. If you do it right, you could definitely, even with short-term gains, I think pay off your taxes in a much easier way than just waiting for those long-term gains. So the main message of this video, in case it's lost, in case I fumbled the words there a little bit, is to just trust your gut. Trust, if you have somebody that you trust who does analysis on the markets, hello. If you have somebody that you trust, like in the real world, who's got experience in the markets as well, if there's a consensus online, or you're hearing all the telltale signs, right, all the social cues that the market is about to top off, we're in that peak euphoria phase, right? Stuff like that. We're seeing more money flow in. Everybody's talking positive on the news daily, weekly, monthly, about crypto and Bitcoin. Everyone's, we're at $500,000 and people are saying things like Bitcoin's going to be at $1 million next month. It's probably time to get out, right? Don't wait for that cycle. Don't wait for those long-term capital gains to be achieved. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Coming from somebody who last cycle was very successful in the bull market, I would have been much more successful if I just said, screw the long-term capital gains. I'm just going to cut and run right now. When I thought that the top was in, right? Should have just sold Dogecoin whenever Elon Musk was going on Saturday Night Live. I knew I should have, right? But no. But then as weeks go on, time goes on, it drops. It drops significantly. And it doesn't matter if you held it for a year or not, right? It's that amount of drop. And of course it still matters. Those long-term capital gains versus short-term gains, they apply. But it's not worth it. Does that make sense, right? It's worth it if you time it right, but again, listen to the markets. Don't listen to yourself whenever it comes to that. Be aware of what's going on. The markets will not wait for you. But I'm beating a dead horse with this. I'm going to end the video there, okay? I hope this message isn't lost because, again, most people, especially from the traditional finance world, they'll teach you that you want to hold long enough to get long-term capital gains. Like, that's a good thing. And it is a good thing if that's an opportunity that you have. But I'm here to tell you that while that is nice, the most important thing to do is to try and be timely. Don't try and don't expect the markets to wait for you. They're not going to. They don't care about you. They do what they do. And if you're on it and you're paying attention and you get out at the right time, even if it's a month before or a week before or a day before your long-term gains come in, that could be a significant enough difference on how much money you take home. Anyways, I feel like I'm just repeating myself at this point, so I'm going to end the video there. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. Hopefully a lot of you are still just holding coins for the past year or a couple of years anyways. We've been in this bull market since the beginning of 2023. It's the end of 2025 now, so a lot of you should have long-term capital gains. Do not get bored. Do not mess up and move your coins around to other projects and sacrifice those long-term gains, because it is worth it to have. It's just not worth it to hold out in the hopes, even if we're at the cycle market top and you think, okay, this is the top, but who cares? I'll write it down a little bit just for this longer amount of time so that I can get the long-term gains. It's not worth it in that sense, okay? I am really beating a dead horse. So I'm going to end it there. Hit the like button, subscribe. Take care of yourselves, all right? Bye-bye.